Peace and grand rising to the sovereign, original, indigenous, natural, divine heirs. Today is November the 9th, 2023 on the ancient moon calendar, 2024 on the ancient sun calendar. All rise and stand and remain standing into perpetuity. This is a sovereign living ancient Article 3 Moorish American Al-Moroccan universal court action in accordance and in alignment with the ancient Noahide laws. We are the sovereign living justices, and Ego Sum Pauline Denise Ritchie. My free chosen sovereign appellation is Light to Jiri Bay. All are in capitis diminution nolo, in red ink, in propria persona sui juris, in proprio solo, and in proprio heredes. We are capit et corpus juris legalis, which is our statement that we are the lawful and legal, natural, living head and living body for our empire. All Moors are the original indigenous, sovereign, ancient, Al-Moroccan, Moorish American ascendants of the great pharaohs of Kemet and of the ancient Moabites, Canaanites, Israelites, Hamathites, Cushites, and Hittites. Our full faith and trust, our allegiance, our honor, our credit, and our energy are hereby vested in ourselves, for we are the people who are the original indigenous, natural, divine, sovereign, ancient empire state from Morocco. We're the de jure Moorish National Republic federal government. We are ancient Washington District for Columbia. We're the Universal Moorish American Consulate and the Earth-wide Article 3 Moorish American Consular Court. Today, we are the law by our sovereign status, which is the original indigenous, natural, divine, sovereign, ancient Article 3 living United States District 4 Columbia Court. And we are the sovereign fiduciaries, original creditors, executors, trustees, ministers, possessors, the titled beneficiaries, and the titled trustors for all causes for action. We are peace. We are one nation. We're one state. We are one empire, and we are one God. We hereby recognize ourselves and accept our sovereign ascension. We do hereby possess in our custody all land, all natural resources, and all commerce. We, the one true living God nation, are not at war. And we hereby exercise all eternal, ancient, sovereign rights at this time and at all points in time, nunc pro tunc. The principles that we share are not our opinion, along with our sovereign, powerful demonstrations and study. These laws and processes that we share are based on principles of stare decisis, res judicata, ancient positive supreme law for the land, long established in sovereign order. Erudite principles and processes for daily practical application is what to intelligently govern our vast estate is what our ancestors have given us to share with the ancient sovereign nations, states, clans, tribes, governments, and peoples at earth. And for this, we are grateful. Islam. We are going to go ahead and lock the meeting and just one moment and clear things up just a little bit here. So one of the first things that I want to say before we get into our subject matter is that today is the solar return for my consul, my financial consul, Randy Albert Ritchie, who is also Sage Bay. He is the greatest sage I have ever known. He happens to be my biological sibling. And I just want to send some honor and some love and some gratitude, much, much, much gratitude. Without him, I just don't know that I would be here right now. He has been my rock. He and Chalet Moore Bay, who is my other biological brother, as well as my biological brother, Keith Ritchie. Mark Ritchie, Keith Ritchie, Randy Ritchie, the Ritchie brothers, and I have 3 other brothers aside from them who have just been my rocks since because the three of us woke up together at the same time. And Sage was the one who called me on the phone and said to me, I heard something. I heard a man speaking. And if what this man is saying is true, we've been lied to our whole lives, and we're not who they said we were, and we're the nobility on the land. And he was talking about a Taj Tariq Bey video. But that my brother Sage, who picked up the phone and called and woke me up because of what Grand Sheik Taj was saying. And then he and I picked up the phone and said, well, let's talk, let's call Mark Ritchie and see if Mark Irvin Ritchie, if he has heard of this as well. And the three of us, we consider ourselves the triad because we've heard so many times that in one family, there's usually only one who wakes up at a time. And in our case, it was exponential, just the three of us waking up at the same time. And so today is Sage's born day, his solar return. And also November 4th was my brother Keith Ritchie's solar return. So I just want to take a moment and send them all my love, all my love, because they're everything. They are everything. When you talk about what a man should be, my brothers, and I'm just saying, this is not about me, this is about all of us. And I know you all feel the same way about your brothers and sisters coming from the same Stargate and so on and so forth. So with that being stated, happy solar return, Randy Ritchie, also known and loved as Sage Bey, Islam. So one thing I want to state really quickly, the wisdom of a poor man is not remembered, okay? So no matter how wise, and we've all known people like this, and some of us are people like this, most of us are, where in the last era, we knew a whole lot. But for some reason, it was not translating monetarily and financially. It was not translating. We knew a whole lot. We've always known a lot. We've been wise beyond our years, even in sometimes, in many cases. But because all that we knew did not translate into money in the last era, people really didn't listen to us. They was like, oh, you're so smart. And then they would turn around and go, yeah, but she's so broke, you know. And they wondered, how did we get so smart? And we even wondered that about ourselves. How is it that we know this much, but we're not the wealthiest people on earth? That's how we were feeling in the last era. Now we know why. Now we know why. We know that we always were the wealthiest people at earth. In the last era, they would say it's not who you know, it's what you know. Or it's not what you know, it's who you know. For us, it's both. First, we must know ourselves. And then we know our systems. That's the what. The what is our systems. The who is ourselves. So for us, it is both. It's who we know and what we know. That gives us the wealth that we have. We are now in manifested format. We have manifested our wealth. And I'll say this too. There's someone in my circle, and this is again not about me, I just want to point this out because you all, I know you have had this happen. Where there's someone who did not believe in any of the things that we were saying in our circle, and we got called all kinds of bums and everything. It's funny now that I look back on it, because now the same ones who were saying that, they're seeing gold and silver and money all over the place for us. And now they're looking over at our treasury like, can I get some of that right there? No, you can't. Remember what you said. you know. And they said it in jest, as a joke. It was funny. We hee-heed about it, but don't come looking over at our gold and see. You better be yourself on your land. So you all, as we continue to demonstrate who we are, those who did not believe, your very actions is going to, they're going to be quiet, and they'll know, because of what we're doing, and they're seeing the results. They're seeing the results, and to them, all they're thinking about is, oh, gold is 2,000 an ounce, and look at all of this, and silver is this much an ounce, and look at all of this. They're looking at it from that perspective, not realizing that there was a spiritual manifestation and change that had to happen first, so that we know where the real money is. The real value is us. The real money is us. And now that whole perspective has changed because of what's coming in, and because of the conversations that we've had with other business people who are willing to work for the gold and the silver and not the fiat. So, as we all continue to demonstrate, that same knowing is going to come over those who doubted you before. That same knowing is going to come over them. And they will know that everything that you said previously is truth. Islam. The conference is unlocked for those who want to come in. Islam. With that being stated, all we have to do is keep doing what we're doing. Because again, in the last era, we talked and stated things and said things in the last era. Everyone knew that we were wise. Everyone knew we were smart. Everyone knew that they knew things about us that we didn't know about ourselves. And now that we know who we are, the wealth is manifesting for all of us, because none of us is doing this by ourselves. We're all doing it together. And so as the different territories began bringing in the gold and silver, because of the work that we're doing, those that didn't believe in you, they'll change their tunes, because the tune has completely changed. I mean, completely changed. And now also, even on the record, those who had negative things to say about us are quiet. Of course, you got a couple of fools, a couple of subjects in the office of complete brand new fools, say, bopping their heads in every now and then. And we just take the head because we're the head. So with that being stated, our actions regarding gold and silver, our court actions include continuing to introduce to the earth the gold, silver, and more sovereign dollarium system, because the more sovereign dollarium is really a receipt for the gold. Noble Phoenix, I believe you stated something in the chat about the announcement that has been made. Let me go back up and pull and to just make sure that I state this correctly. The Real ID Act, yeah. Noble Phoenix, you mentioned the Real ID Act and how they were announcing that the Real ID Act was coming. And in the chat, you put, my guess is that we are the ones issuing the real IDs on the land. Yes. All of the announcements that the actors have been making on their way out the door is about us. It's not about them, because they don't have the authority to issue real IDs. They don't have the authority to issue real money or anything. That whole thing about a quote unquote CBDC and all of that, the announcements that the subjects enact are actually preparing everyone for what we're doing. And what you see on the screen right now, even, there was a video out, and there are many videos out there talking about the new Treasury. It's set to begin issuing on the 26th through the 29th of November. That is correct, except we've already started issuing. Okay, so they're preparing for us to do what we've been doing. We've already been doing it. We've been issuing more sovereign dollarium receipts for the gold and silver that's coming in. We've been issuing. We put gold and silver in our treasury. We have tracking numbers for that. We've begun gold and silver and more sovereign dollarium. Our financial system is up and running. It's always been up and running, and it's really not a new treasury. It's the ancient one. So when they make announcements like that, all they're doing is saying, okay, we're the announcement. We're the announcers for the Moors. We're subject to the Moors, and we're just announcing what the Moors are doing, because they know they can't do it. Those who know the systems know that those systems that were being previously enacted in the last era have failed. Everyone knows that. Everyone knows that. And so our systems that we have implemented and not enacted, implemented and activated are working. They're working perfectly, actually. So, and I just took this snapshot from a video that I found. It came up, and I just happened to watch what they were saying about it, and saw that they were announcing again what we're doing. So how are we doing the things that we're doing? The same way that we've been doing it. Restate everything. Now, is Empress Why Not present? Empress Why Not, are you present? I'm going to take it out. And put it in. You can *6 to state. Just a moment. Empress Why Not, are you present? She may not be. Okay. And I'll occasionally just check to see if she's here, because I wanted to first thank her for what she sent to us, and second, we're going to demonstrate. I'm going to point some things out. Just a moment. We are going to point some things out today in our restatement. So regarding the restating of things, whatever we see out there must be restated. Whatever we see must be restated. Let me show you how the restatement was being done by financial restatement. Okay, so everything that we see out there that has a dollar price, all we have to do is restate whatever it is. Price tags, documents, whatever it is, we restate whatever that is, and then we issue our money. So let me just show you what that looks like. I'm going to show you where the post office had been restating things. What you see on the screen is a mailing from Canaan land that came to us here. And if you will notice, everything on here is on here first in English, and then in, you can call it French if you want to call it French. You can call it whatever you want to call it. You can call it ancient English. You can call it whatever you want to call it. All it is different spellings of the same words. But when we talk about restating things, this package here was restated in order to get to us. First, they called it the Canada Post. And then right on the other side of that, they called it the Postes Canada. That is how you restate anything that you're doing. You first put it in ancient English, okay? We put it in ancient English first, and then you put it in whatever other language. You can put it in Common English first and then ancient English, or ancient English first and then Common English. Let me tell you why this is important. If you look here where it says postage paid, and then they put a little line, and then they call themselves translating it, it says port pay, P-A-Y-E, the way we spell pay. Pay and paid is the same word. Paid and pay. So when they say you have to paid for this, you have to pay for this, they're really saying you've already paid for it. It depends on which language you're speaking. So postage paid and port pay is the same thing. That means it's going through a portal and translating flawlessly from one place to another. So we're looking at this. I was looking at this package that we received that we're so grateful for. And look at the date, how the date is stated. The date is stated the way that we have stated the date should be, which is the year first, then the month, then the day. However, we spell the month out. We didn't use numbers for the month. We spell it out. And the reason we spell it out is because their numbers are incompetent. Okay? So again, whenever anyone whenever we send things, whenever we send things or receive things, it's a matter of restating everything that's going on. And when we properly restate it, it will translate. Where phones and conveyances and things of that nature are concerned, all that we must do is restate it. That's it. Restate it. Translate it for them. Okay? And we don't use their English even when we thought we were spelling English. We couldn't use their English. Why? Because their English is dead and we're alive. Okay? So we weren't speaking what we thought was English anyway. So let's look a little further at how they restated the money part of this. Just a moment. Let me see if I can. Just a moment. Just one moment. Let me make sure that I'm. One moment. Okay. Just a moment. Just one moment. Okay. Let me just make sure I've updated my list here. Okay. So now let's take a look at the money piece, because the money piece, the money part of what we're doing is simply a matter of restating the dollar. And when we restate a dollar, we're not talking about a fiat dollar. We're talking about a dollar that is a gold dollar. Okay, a gold dollar. That's what we're talking about. If you'll notice, they translated the words, but they didn't translate the measurement, the money. Postage rate, tariff de France, and this word right here is actually defranchise, tariff defranchise, is still the same. So the systems are the same no matter what you call it. The money system is the same no matter what you call it. If this had been put in Spanish or French or any other language, it would have been English first and then this other, whatever that other language is, and the money units would still be the same. Okay? So this is my point with this. My point is that any mailings, for example, when I get ready to send things to Canaan land, all I have to do is restate what's on the screen here and then send it. Restate it and then send it. And the system will recognize what we've done. Okay? This is why ancient English was so important, is so that we could translate whatever it is that's coming, no matter what it is, we can translate it. Now, another thing I want to point out here, can anyone state what two entities or two ports or portals is it that's speaking here? Whose systems are speaking here? Can anyone state whose systems are speaking?
Islam.
Islam.
Are you referring to the USA and the?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
And the EU?
Absolutely.
Is that what?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, indeed. Those are the two systems. Now, that means that the EU is claiming Canada.
Exactly.
That's what that means.
It's so fucking hilarious.
That they're claiming Canada.
Which is interesting because the US and Canada are the same corporation.
Yes. It's just a portal that they were claiming. It's a portal. The EU, and they put it the right way. they put it minus E minus U because it's not real, and then minus USA
Right.
because it's not real.
Because it's, yeah.
Those are the two portals where the money systems are the same. It's just what they call it is different. And that is why we had to have, in all nations, in order to call yourself a nation, you must have your own language that everyone in your nation speaks and can understand and understand. Ancient English for us is that language, but when you look at all the other languages, we understand or understand and understand the other languages because they are spelled slightly differently, but the words mean the same. Postage and port means the same thing. Post and port are the same word. Post office and port office are the same. That is where the translation of the money comes in at. That is why the post office was so important. Islam nobility.
Is this also relevant and connected to the ports?
Yes.
To the ships?
Yes.
While we must fiduciary claim all the ports.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
And when we declare our nationality, we are automatically claiming the original port.
Islam Empress.
Islam.
Are we also referring to us as the empresses? Basically, they were trying to remove us with that negative E and the U.
Yes.
As ports that bring forth everything.
Yes. 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 And EU is under the authority of the crown, which is all of us. The EU is under our authority. Always has been, always will be. And EU stands for European Union. We created that. We created the European Union so that while we slept, the Europeans can do what they were doing, which is be placeholders until we awaken. So we're not mad at that. We're actually grateful that they agreed to do that, knowing that, again, the European Union, the word union in and of itself means that there are two things that are different from each other that are coming together. But again, we had to create the European Union first. And when you look at anything that the European Union is doing, it's going to say ancient, 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 ancient. If you've seen Euros, they have all of our buildings and everything, or what looks like all of our buildings. All they did was restate the things that are ours. Euros have ancient old buildings and ancient animals and plants and just everything ancient. The Euro is about that which is ancient, that which is specific and particular and custom made. So again, this has always been about us and about the Europeans and the European Union. It's always been that. However, we had to create a European Union. We had to do it. The Moors did that. So whenever you even hear about, just like when I was doing my POW demonstration in 2017, I told you all the event that happened while I was in there in the cell doing court actions, and how the two modern Europeans came up. And again, we're not mad at them; we love them. The two modern Europeans came to the cell door, and one of them said, "You know, she's you know she's a Moor, right? And the other one said, and we've told this in several of our past, even when we first got out, we told this story about how the two came, and one of them said, you know, she's a Moor, right? And the other one, her eyes got big, and she looked at the other one and she said, you mean like in Europe? And the other one said, yeah. She looked terrified.
If any of this were true, you'd have a conveyance for cell phone service.
But because that's where everything came from with regard to anything that has to do with our subjects. Anything that has to, it started there. And then that's where we gave them information. All the information that we gave them, we started giving them that information at Europe. We gave them names at Europe. We gave them everything that has to do with us. We taught it to them at Europe. And then we said, okay, we're going to go to sleep. And you all do all of these things. And then when we wake up, you will know that it's us, because we will put everything back in its proper place. You will know that it's us.
Bullshit.
You will know that it's us, because we'll put everything back in its proper place, and that is what we've done. So when it comes to the portal for where conveyances, domiciles, cell phones, and all of that, what we do is we state it in its proper format first on one side, and then on the other side of that same document. And we've done this before. We showed it before in the beginning when we first started restating things. We showed just how to put a space between and state things this way on a receipt or whatever the case may be. This right here is actually another way of, for example, when you look at a dollar bill, and I can't call it a dollar bill, I'll just call it a Federal Reserve debt note. Just a moment. Let me, I'll pull it up. U.S. And I'll say that's what it is, but that's not really what it is. We know that. I'll pull it up on the screen and just point out what we're talking about here. So let me see if I can get the reverse of it. Because we want to show you how everything has a pattern. Let's see if we can, there's the back. Okay, this is the part we wanted to show. Because there's a pattern here, Morris, that we have been demonstrating how on one side the Moors come first. That's what this pyramid over here it was attempting to represent, but of course no one represents the Moors. We present ourselves. The pyramid is on one side, and then the phoenix is on the other, and some say this is an eagle, but on our money it's a phoenix. What they're doing is making it so that the portals connect and speak to one another and give it value. And again, this one doesn't have value, we know that, okay? It was the trust that the Moors had in it initially in the enactment that gave it any value. So now we've put our trust in our own money and our own gold and silver. But the point being is that on one side, we're there, the Americans, the Moors, the Moorish Americans, the Al-Moroccans, however you choose to, whatever you choose to state that you, to whoever you choose to state that you are. And then on this side is the system. Okay? The system. It's a system. The system is our system. It always has been, it always will be. It's our system. So half and half on one side and on the other. Okay? And this postage that we're looking at here, let me go back to that. On one side is the USA, and on the other side is the EU, which again is a system. It's a system. It's not people, it's a system. And then we govern all of that. We govern all of that. So our job is to translate, is to first state and then translate for the system, in our documentation. Now, how have we already been doing that? Because we've already been doing it. So nothing will change in terms of what we're doing, but we wanted to point this out to you, how on the left is us, and on the right is the system. Okay? And that's with everything. That's with everything. Okay? Now, the reason that this is important is because we're going to begin translating the Moorish sovereign dollarium into dollars. We've already started doing it. It's already done. We're just expanding on what we've already been doing. The first way that we've been translating is by sending an affidavit on Moorish government letterhead in ancient English, or however you write your affidavit. We send that with company documents. And then we send dollarium with it, and we've been translating. What is this dollarium for? It's for this, this, and this. Okay? And again, this is how you use dollarium on the land. This is how all systems recognize dollarium, is when we translate for the system. Okay? Now, a little further down here, this right here, what do you call this? This Q code. Okay, QR code. Yeah, QR code. This code, when I put this code in blue, it's still going to be, and this was the amazing part to me about the mailing that I received. The mailing that I received, this code put all of this information in ancient English. Look how south is spelled. Look how west is, because that's how we spell it when we write it in ancient English. And then it didn't say U.S. or it didn't even say USA like it says up here. It didn't even say that. It said United States in all capital letters and black ink, which again, according to our fiduciary documents, all of that stuff belongs to us anyway.
What does BST stand for?
Okay. Go ahead. Was there a question?
Yes, the WA. Are you going to talk about that?
Yes, I am going to talk about that. So in the system only made it so that two state letters would be acceptable in the overlay system, not the ancient system, not our system, their system. So when I restate this, I'm going to spell it all the way out. And when I turn this QR code blue, it's going to change all of this. It's going to change the jurisdiction of this address. And it's going to spell Washington all the way out and put it in the proper trust. Okay, so this must be restated. And I'll just give you a quick, we'll do it in blue. I'll give you just a quick idea of what that will look like. I'll just take the time to go through and turn all of this blue. And when I turn it all blue, that means it's been placed on the holy altar. It's been altered. Because see, that whole church thing and altars and all of that, that is what they were doing. They were changing things. That's why they always say, people say they were changed. You know, once they went to the altar and they got quote unquote prayer and they got hands laid on them, they were changed. And now they have God's nature. Okay? And so this is how I alter the things that come. And when I alter it, I claim it because I created it. Okay? And so this QR code, the system will still recognize it, right? The system that uses QR codes will recognize this QR code because it's the same, just the color has changed. Okay? And that way, then we can do this with Washington. Because see, this is what restating things is all about. When we send things to Canaan land, we will use restated documents and restated mailing. This is in a way, it's a stamp. This is how we create our own stamps, but have the system to still recognize it. Oops. Okay. And then I'll make it a little bit bigger, as close in size. And I would actually restate all of this, but for the sake, you know, I would put all of this in blue, all of it in blue. Spell out Washington, and there you have it. All of this will be restated. I actually take the time to do that because once I do it and I put that in my inventory, I don't have to redo it again. And the system, whatever we send through the system, okay, whatever we send through the system will just look at it and recognize it and send it on through without the use of fiat. Okay? Now remember, some might say, well, isn't that counterfeiting? No, it's not counterfeiting. Theirs was counterfeit. When you counterfeit something, you make it look exactly like theirs, and you try and pass it off as theirs when that's not what we're doing. We're changing everything. We're changing the capitalization. We're changing the color. We're changing everything. We're changing the jurisdiction. We're changing the spelling. And according to trademark law, that is what is necessary. This program, again, is not really a program. Whenever I pull up a PDF, I can change the PDF. Whenever I pull up a PDF, I can change it. I can alter the PDF, no matter what it is. That just came on this computer. So it's just a PDF. Whenever a PDF comes up, the ability to alter it is already here. Okay? Just a moment. Let me unlock the meeting so everybody can get back in. I see a couple. Okay, the conference is unlocked. So again, whenever we're changing, whenever we're altering things, yes, we must restate everything. Everything has to be restated so that the system will translate it properly. And then we use more sovereign dolarium to demonstrate that. Okay? And then the
I'll
more
be taking
sovereign
a European cruise, so I won't be available for the next 3 weeks.
Just a moment. Thank you, Empress, because I couldn't get to it fast enough. So as we're doing the things that we're doing and restating everything, everything that we do, the system will recognize it. It will automatically recognize it. So there's no one thing we should never do is worry about whether the system knows what we're doing, because everything that we're doing is restating everything properly. Okay, and then here's the thing. We have the authority to restate everything because we are the state. Okay? We are the state, we are the law, we are the government, and then anyone who in the last era who might have opposed anything cannot oppose anything because they're not the state. They don't have the status to oppose what you're doing. They don't have the status. The truth of that is found, I'll just use this as an example, in someone that was previously acting as president having to answer to the system. Okay? That is letting everyone know that there's no one who can challenge what we're doing. No one, no matter who they are, no matter who they say they are, no one can challenge what we're doing because we're the state, we're the law, we're the government, we're all of that. And it is the system that speaks and says whatever, but the system is doing what we tell it to do. And so all we're doing is translating from ancient English to whatever system speak is going on. That's going to look exactly like what you see on the screen. It's going to look just like what you see on the screen. The translation of our money is going to look just like this. The amounts stay the same. So even today, for example, the price of gold. On our ancient land, the price of gold is $50,000 per ounce. The system is saying $2,000 per ounce. That's what the system was saying until we tell the system otherwise. Which when we, as we continue to put things into our system is going to recognize the $50,000 per ounce. The only problem with that is that those who don't have gold won't be able to afford gold. And that's why the two systems work together. It's so that everyone who can afford gold at $2,000 an ounce can get it using bank credits. And then we translate and revalue it. And this is what they were calling an RV. Okay, or Nasara and Jasara and all of that. We are the real Nasara and Jasara and all of that. We must restate the gold and then feed that back into the system. Feed it back in there, and the system will recognize.
Islam.
Because of the numbers. Because of the numbers. The numbers will stay the same. Islam.
Islam. Grand Rising. It was a beautiful demonstration that she was mentioning earlier about us knowing that we're gold, because I too yesterday had that epiphany of a realization again that we are the money, we are the gold. And you remember that saying was the love of all money is the root of all evil. Well, that was partially true from the fact that it was fiat that you were loving. So that is the root of all evil. Because if it's fiat, then it's not of love, right? So to know that we are the real money, to love money, which is yourself, you are gold, there's no evil in that. There's nothing bad about loving money, because it's the true money, which is you.
Yes.
And you're supposed to love yourself.
Yeah.
Right? So Islam to that you and I and we all are coming into that realization of knowing who and what the real money is, and we're supposed to love that.
Yes.
And so that part. Also, just putting it on the record that New York's bonds was received, and we have the receipt in Islam.
Islam. Congratulations on your demonstration, the success of
Well
it.
done for
Okay.
comedy. Putting it on. Oh, I would.
Yes, gratitude.
Indeed. So, with regard to love and the love of money, that was a whole misnomer. That's scriptural. That comes from the Biblios. The love of fraud is the root of all evil, because that was not money. That wasn't even money from the last era. So,
I'm sorry. One more thing. I'm sorry. And during our conversation we had yesterday, I looked up the word assumption.
mm-hmm.
And assumption from Middle English, assumios. I think I said it incorrectly, but it's from medieval Latin, assumptio, a taking up into heaven. A Latin assumption, a taking up, adoption, the mere presumption of a I can't say that word. SYLLOGISM. Whatever that word means.
We command you to keep these comedy shows coming. We command.
A syllogism?
Yes, probably it. Well, because we was talking about the assumptions and presumptions, and then when you look at the word, it means to take up. So we were taking up something that wasn't ours, and we were having the assumptions, because when they stated something, we never rebutted it. So the fraud, that is, when statements were made, it was the people who didn't know who they were made the assumption that it was true. That means to take up. Assumption means to take up. So we in the last era, we took up the name of the black in that way. Remember when Kanye said we chose slavery, quote unquote, because he was probably talking about the assumption, because he probably knew what the etymology of the assumption means to take up. And if you ever heard of the statement, the assumption and the presumption is no longer, we no longer accept the assumption and presumption. That means we no longer accept the taking of those so-called mislabels and misnomers.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just found that very interesting when I looked up the word assumption. Islam.
So the root word of assumption and presumption, the root word is sum, or some. Some is the English, which means in total. Sum in Latin means all of us. So when we say sumus de sanctum unum in some of the spells that we use, that means all of us are the holy ones. We. Sumus means we. So when the Biblios talked about a rapture, a catching up of the chosen ones, the saved ones. When they and the Biblios didn't talk about that. It doesn't use the word rapture. It not at all. It uses the term catching away or catching up. So we have already been raptured by our own word, by dashing and smashing and doing away with presumptions and assumptions. All of the offices from the last era's enactment were assumed. They weren't real, they were assumed, meaning everyone agreed that that was real. But when the real living heirs decide that something is not applicable, it does not serve us, then we are caught up in the truth of that. And really not caught up is not really even the right word either. We rise to the truth. It's still, because caught up or is still a rising, a grand rising. So the rapture is happening for us even now with regard to everything that we're doing. And the words assume and presume, those are court terms. The presumption of evidence, those are court terms that let us know that we should have been doing court actions from the very beginning as well. So now, with regard to restating things, down here at the bottom really brought everything to light, even more so for us as we continued to do these things, to look at this demonstration. There was, right here, it says quantity and description of content, and then it says quantities et description du contenu. Well, those are just different spellings of the same sentence. It's different spelling of the same sentence. Why is this important? Because we're going to be translating ancient English into common English, and as we translate it into common English, the system, which is common to all, the system is going to continue to recognize what we're doing. See, when we first nationalized, we heard Moors say all the time, they don't recognize our system, our documents. They don't recognize our IDs. They don't recognize this and they don't recognize that. Well, first, we're not talking about people. We're talking about a system. And that system needs a translator. And when you translate it, when we speak and then we feed what we speak back into the system will do as we command. This right here is a prime example of that, where you see Pauline Denise Ritchie 9-1, it's spelled in ancient English and all of that. That means that the system recognized what we said and created based on what we said and what we stated and what we sent. Moors, how many times have we sent things, put things into the postal system, the post system, and had it come back to us and the system say, no, I don't recognize that? How many times has that happened among us, included? When I first started speaking to that system, the system was asleep. And so I had to send some more commands, send some more authorization for the system to do what it's supposed to do, which is recognize what we say, not what they say. We don't change to them, they change to us, to what we say. Now, Justice Howard, I like what you put in there. You're saying too many times. Listen, it's the authority that's speaking to that system that will make that system change the way it spells Federal Way and know where to send the documentation. I had to notify and say, no system, Federal, the way we spell it is with 2 L's instead of 1. That's what I expect you to put. And what did the system do? It said, oh, wait a minute, I'm confused. I thought South and West and place were spelled differently, but the authority has said that the system must acknowledge that it's spelled this way. So system changed because of the authority of the Postmaster General, which all of us are Postmasters General. The spelling changed. So that is proof right there that the system does what we tell it to do, except that we must acknowledge first the system. We acknowledge the system first. How did we do that? Well, what we did was we first learned that all capital letters, it doesn't have to be all capital letters. And if it is capital letters, it has to be our capital letters and not theirs. And see, what this is proving right here is that it's our capital letters in black ink because it's spelled the way we said spell it. We changed the entire system to be what it should be. And we didn't change it. All we did was remove the fraud. All must do that. All must do that. All must do that. It starts with nationality. Now we have the system speaking our language instead of the other way, instead of us trying to bend over and fit into the system. That is where authority is concerned. And if it doesn't work the first time, look back at your process and say, okay, let me just make sure that the system, that I'm acknowledging the system and what the system says about authority. Well, what the system says about authority is this. First and foremost, where authority is concerned, authority doesn't have a zip code. Authority is the land, period. It's all the land without boundaries. All the land without boundaries is reflected by latitude and longitude. Because see, when you use latitude and longitude, it means that there are no boundaries to that, that it's all the land. That's what latitude and longitude is. Now, let me say this about latitude and longitude and this particular mailing. I have to, Empress, why not? She may or may not be on here, but this is, the mailing came from her. And I've removed her personal information just to show this demonstration. She signed it in blue, and I removed her signature here just to show this. But on the other side, and this is why her mailing had to get through. On the other side of her mailing, she wrote it in ancient English. And guess what they did at Canaan land? They put a zip code underneath here. The post office put a zip code underneath there. What does that mean? That means that anytime they see these letters and numbers here, they know where it goes. Well, that had to be by who we say we are. This was the other side of the mailing. So what she did was the same thing that we're talking about. She translated from our ancient English, she translated it for the system, and then the system had to do what she stated. She translated it from quote unquote American English to European Union language. She translated it from Canada Post to Post as Canada. She did that. And then the system just said, oh, we recognize that. We recognize that. So the system, anyone who says that the system is doing exactly as we stated is right. There's the proof. There's the proof right there. So when we say use the mailing process that we said that we have suggested that the sovereigns use, it's because we already know the system belongs to us. We know that. If I change the spelling of it today and spell Federal Way Phederall, the system will do exactly as commanded and send it right here. Because of our authority and because of how we stated that the system must work without using fiat. Islam.
That's a beautiful demonstration. And I noticed, hold on please, that there was a notation in the United States Post Office website that there was going to be an update on the 8th, and that was yesterday.
Yes.
The whole system was updated, and so that this is the proof of that.
Yeah.
This is beautiful.
Yeah, and that's why I was asking for Ember why not. I just wanted to thank her for this demonstration because she's proving. Now, what she sent, she sent something very beautiful. It was pure love, but she didn't realize, I don't think, that we were going to get this much out of what she sent. What she sent was so beautiful, it warmed our very souls.
Islam, because it was sincerity.
Yes.
The sincereness of that whole giving.
Yes.
Was the fruit and the labor of love.
Yes, it was very beautiful. And
Islam.
then the ancestors just would not let me put the envelope aside. They said, just keep looking at it, just keep looking at that so we can show you what it is that we want to show you. Okay. Islam nobility.
A service tracking scanner is X'd out. Is that part of the restating as well?
You said what now? You noticed that the what?
The United States Postal Tracking, that scanner bar.
Yeah.
I know it says X'd out.
Yeah, I did that.
Is that part of the restating?
I didn't have to do that, and like when I send it, I can turn that whole barcode blue, and it'll just send something back to us, which we are going to do that at some point. We're going to make that barcode blue so that anyone who wants to send something to us, they can use that barcode. But we have various things that have come to us with barcodes on them that we can scan in and use. So it may not be this specific barcode, it may be one similar to it. And that way all Moors can just copy and paste the barcode and this QR code and it will get to us. They don't have to use fiat. I just love that, the system is doing as we have commanded with the spelling and everything. Now, let me say this about ancient English, too. The system does not know, well, and I can't say that because we stated it to the system, I was going to say the system doesn't know the difference between ancient English and common English, but it does, because we put documentation and given commands. We have uncovered our ancient post office, our ancient port office. It's a port. It's a port. So with us knowing that it's a port and that we have the authority to make the money translate between the ports, we must all do it as Postmasters General. That's how the money gets translated and changed over. That's why the post office was so important, because no matter what people pay with, the postal system has the adaptable ability to accept and change and do the exchange and then get things where they're going between ports. That's why you saw us in 2019, I believe it was, or 2020, somewhere around there. We did a little short video where we went and put our flag up at the post office. Because we knew in our spirit that is the mechanism by which, no matter where you are at Earth, the money can be exchanged, and the system will recognize everything coming and going. Islam Empress.
Nathaniel did some research concerning the post office, and he found the manual, and it states that the tellers at the post office are in fact directly the treasury. They're the treasurer. Those ones that's why we have to take our positions at the post office, because that, from the ancient times, the post office was the president, it was the post office, it was the bank, it was the treasurer, and then so in that, as he was reading it, and he was, reading what it says that that's where the treasury is. That's the beginning part of the treasury, because like what you're stating, that's where the bridge from one to the next begins and ends there. The accounts are activated there. Everything happens at the post office, at that port office.
Yes. Let me say this about what you stated. We affirm what you stated, Empress, with one caveat. The one clarification that we'll make is we've already taken our positions. We're already doing postmaster duties already.
Yeah,
we're already exchanging funds. We're already doing the international exchanges. We're nationalizing gold and silver as it comes in. We're encouraging all Moors who have gold and silver in their own inventories to nationalize it. All that means is just restate the paperwork that came with it. Just restate it.
Yes.
Islam.
So we're already doing postmaster duties. When you look at the post office that they said that Benjamin Franklin, and I'm putting that in air quotes, it's a house in Philadelphia.
Yep.
It's a house in Philadelphia that they say was the first post office. We're already doing, this is the teller window.
Yes, it is.
This is the Postmaster General office. All of us are sitting at Postmaster General offices right now because we are those offices.
Affirm.
Isn't post also reference to the planet Midgard?
Yes.
The post. The word
Yes.
post itself.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Because this planet is a portal.
Correct.
And it's only a portal because there are so many of us on it.
You know, when I'm hearing you speak, I'm looking at the screen, but also connect what's on the screen to the human body, meaning the human body system.
Yes.
You keep saying system.
Yes.
And I just think about the human body system. What is inside of us is a duplication on the outside of us. No,
Yes.
true.
Yes, that's true.
So that's how I see it as you're explaining all of this, Islam.
Islam. You know, Justice Howard, that is far truer than we could ever even imagine. I'll tell you this. It's so true that whenever, for example, if I allow myself, for whatever reason, to get dehydrated, it starts raining. And then when I rectify the dehydration and drink and take in enough fluids and liquids and water, it stops raining. That's just something I noticed. There's definitely a connection because I've done that demonstration many times. And some days I allow myself to. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was adding also the motherboard. I think I shared that months back. That motherboard that's in the circuitry system is exactly what you're showing to us on the screen. No, true.
That's how everything works. Everything goes through mother.
Yes, through mother.
Yes.
System.
Yeah, it's a system.
It's a system. And I brought this up just so those who are in the circle here on the conference, they could see it within and without, on the inside and the outside. Because I build houses. And we're building houses, you got to put in the pipes. That's the arteries of the water system. And then the smaller ones, which is the vessels, the veins and then the capillaries. This system, as you pushing that word in our head, system, the human body system that we all have, this avatar, is a reflection on the outside.
Yes.
That's our system, Islam.
Yes. And the heart of, let's say, for example, you're talking about a house. Generally, the heart of the house, can anyone just take a guess as to which place in the house is the heart?
Islam.
Which place?
The kitchen.
You could say that, but there's a reason why they call it a living room.
Oh, that too.
Where the fireplace is.
Yes, the living room. Well, what is everybody doing in the rest of the rooms? Are those dead rooms? No, they're not. But the living room is where everyone comes together and meets to speak, to confer with one another, to agree, to talk things out, the living room. And then the master goes to the master bedroom. The kitchen is where social things happen. If you look up the word kitchen, it's also about nourishment and creation. We get in there and we create and we nourish. We create. But see, even the nourishment is dining room. That's where everybody goes to eat, the dining room. The kitchen is like Santa's workshop, except it's mother or father workshop. That's where the work is put in the kitchen. And so each room has a different, and then only after a certain period of time did they start adding offices to homes. Think about that, Moors. Every home has a place where people can go and sit and work, even if it's in a corner. You have an office. And even the internal revenue began to make it so that you can claim that the office is the workplace of the house. Okay? So we're conducting official business right here, wherever you are. Because guess what? No office has any authority lest the Moors sit there or stand there and make things happen and say to the system, you will spell this way, you will use these letters, and you will do this as commanded by the Moors. And the system goes, yep, I'm just a system. I'm going to do what my master tells me. Period. And whatever the master says, that is what I will do. That's what a system is. All systems are subject to the Moors, and I don't care if it's a circulatory system. I don't care if it's a electrical system, a postal system, a post office system, a universal system, No matter what the system is, it is subject to the Moors, period. Speech systems, customs, national systems, international systems, governmental systems, human systems, resource systems, money systems, banking systems, all subject to the Moors. We see that though. Because what did we say about fraudulent banking? And what do we see happening right now? All systems are subject.
Islam, the fraudulent ones, the funny mirror ones, is over.
It's a wrap.
Islam.
Islam, Empress.
May I share something regarding the bank?
Of course.
I was in an ATM.
Mm-hmm.
They have these posters on the door now. Important notice: all banknotes welcome. This ATM accepts.
Empress, do you have a picture of that for us?
Let me share it with you.
Please share it.
Let me. Oh, hang on. No, let me see, because for some reason I can't get in on my computer. I am on phone, so let me send it to myself, and then I can get it across. Let me. Bear with me, please. Okay. Hold on. Let me see. I'm coming. Hold on. Wait a minute.
While you're doing that, Empress, I'm just gonna pull up really quickly from the FDIC website. It's called Currency Transaction Reporting.
Okay.
A bank must electronically file a currency transaction report for each transaction in currency. Now, it doesn't say United States Federal Reserve debt notes. It doesn't say any of that. It says currency. Deposit, withdrawal, exchange of currency, exchange of currency. Think about the word exchange of currency, or other payment or transfer of more than $10,000 by, through, or to the bank. These currency transactions need not be reported if they involve exempt persons, a group which can include commercial customers meeting specific criteria for exemption. Exempt persons. And so it doesn't matter, and right here, 31 CFR 1010.100 defines currency. Listen, it's on the screen. Defines currency as coin and paper money of the United States or any other country that is designated as legal tender and that circulates. Does Moorish sovereign dolarium circulate? Yes. And is customarily used. Custom is universal law. That's international law. And accepted as a medium of exchange in the country of issuance. What country issues Moorish sovereign dolarium?
Morocco. All earth.
Islam.
Oh, and might I point out that this was stated February 2021.
Yes.
From their perspective, not this their perspective, that part.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yes, indeed.
So that would be the 12th month in the proper stated calendar.
Yes, it is.
Did you see that I put that in for her?
Yes.
My goodness. So okay. So this is 12-0. No, I'm sorry. I'm going over the numerology. So it will be 12-2-0-21. So the 12 and the 21 is the inverse of themselves, and then the 2-0 is in the middle. So that's 3, 3, and so 6, 78. Infinity. Islam.
Islam.
Oh, thank you,
So,
Phoenix. Awesome.
indeed. Just one moment. Okay. Because we're going to put that on the screen here in just a moment. Just a moment. Let us. Okay. Empress Shasha, thank you for this. It is very beautiful.
Is it not, the colors?
Yeah, it's so beautiful. It's very beautiful. Let me see if I can pull it up on the screen. Just one moment, because it's on there.
It speaks to everything that you just read.
Yes.
You know, and it says a cash, and delirium is cash, and it just.
Yes.
I had to take a photo because it just spoke to me on so many levels. What
and look, it says new Jamaican banknotes. That's your money there, Empress. That's your
money?
delirium.
It's not money.
Yes. It's when I say I'm talking about the more sovereign delirium that you create. There it is, right there.
Oh my gosh! There. Bye, funny mirror. Because I'm seeing the this new polymer stuff that they've, having printed in England. But but even as I saw that, and that was my question: do we refer to delirium as notes?
We can. It's whatever we call it at the time that we're using it.
And that's where this thing, it's actually saying, it's speaking actually what we think state, it's speaking because we've told it to speak. Because when I saw that, I don't have an account at this bank, but had I would have immediately taken some delirium out of my purse and put it in the machine. Because this, to me, especially as it spells out anywhere that this ATM accepts cash deposits, the machines have never had that language on them like that before. So, it's proof that we're up and running.
Of course we are. Of course we are. And here's the thing: CBDCs don't even count.
Islam.
Right.
That's how you know the change has taken place.
Islam, though. One moment, please. On the top, you see the 100. It says AA, and then it's like 6 zeros.
Yes.
Say that again. You were distorted.
It says AA, and then it's like 6 zeros. Yeah, it's 6 zeros. Right there.
And our More Sovereign Delirium Gold Receipts has AA 222141. That's the series.
But they purposely did not finish the series. So that's interesting. Yeah, the AA that you pointed that out. That's interesting.
Yes, and then Noble Phoenix put something in the chat that tells me that Noble Phoenix, you're still looking in the funny mirror about definition. We define what a note is. We don't have any debt on the land. Yeah, we don't have any.
No, that's what I just said. I'm not looking in a funny mirror. And no, I just spoke that literally saying if we speak of it as a note, we're speaking of it as a note because we are the creditor. We don't owe anyone else. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Okay. My apologies.
You got to read the rest of it. We owe no one outside of ourselves because we're the creditor.
And from our perspective, even where others are concerned, a note is not debt. Even their definition can't be different from ours on our land. It's got to be the same as we say that it is on our land. But yes, my apology for misinterpreting your comment, Noble Phoenix.
No worries. That AA, the series on our delirium, the AA 22141, that's from the, I forget what you call it now.
The State Department.
State Department reference. That's where that series is from then.
Yes.
Okay.
And we made sure that we included that series on our gold receipts as well.
And then we also include our own serial number. Is that correct?
Yes, according to your records.
Okay, very good. Thank
So
you.
that if people say, well, hey, I got my Morris Sovereign Delarium from Noble Phoenix, and then you can look at, okay, well, what's the serial number? And, you know, you can look at...
None of y'all have gotten conveyances. None of you have been able to successfully use Delarium in any of your fucking quote-unquote demonstrations. You haven't been able to fucking prove one single thing. The fact.
But they keep coming. But they keep coming here.
Yeah, like, don't
Please.
know why. If we
Have several seats.
Yeah.
We're already proving that systems do as we command. We're proving that repeatedly. Empress Shasha has put on the record here. Just one moment. Let me see if I can. Yeah, there it is. Empress Shasha, this is huge.
That was what it jumped out at me, and I had to take the picture because my head was, whoa.
That means that the ATMs have been reformatted and all of that.
Exactly, because up until when I was there a couple of days ago, you couldn't put, they came with that fiat, because they brought new fiat here, a few months back. And the machines, there was a whole series of robberies at the machines, which, in inverted commas, they were removing the fiat, but the machines would not accept this new fiat. And so, yes, a couple of days ago when I went and saw this, I knew it wasn't talking about the fiat, even though, some people will put the fiat in there, but I knew it was a broader, and it was speaking to us, to our system.
Yes. Yes, indeed. And that is why notification is so important, because the system is already switched over to us.
Right.
At every level. However, we must be competent to speak to it. First thing where competence and speaking to systems is concerned is, who is it that's speaking? Proper identification of the parties. You must properly identify yourself and then properly identify that system as being subject to you. See, even at Canaan land territory, the system is doing what we have stated here by spelling and stating things and then making sure it gets here. And creating QR codes and all of that with proper spelling on it. The money system is no different, because in reality, there's no difference between a postal system and a money system. No difference. So as we continue to restate things and then speak to the system, restate it and speak to the system, put it in blue, put it in red, speak to the system. And the system is like a child. It's like when you're teaching a child to say certain words. You'll teach the child to say the word and you say, okay, little air, the word is mommy or mother. And sometimes they'll say, ba, 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 ba. And you're like, no, it's mother or mom or mommy. And they'll say a word that's similar to that, but not quite that word, but similar, but you know what they're saying. They know what they're saying, and they know it means you. But there has to be someone to translate that word so that whenever they say that word, until they learn what you're saying. Then you put them in your school and you teach them how to write it, how to spell it, and how to say it, and what it means when you say it. Because in the beginning was the Word was with God, and the Word was God, period. The Word still is God. So this is the mother nation teaching the system how to speak. This is the mother nation, and the mother nation is all lands at earth. It's latitude and longitude, because there are no boundaries between us. What's good for us here is good over there and wherever else. It all works together. And then what we each do is learn the systems at each territory. I learned some things about Canaan land by just looking at this package that was sent with so much love and care. I saw the translation happen. It just affirmed what we've been doing by sending our affidavits with our company documents, our post office documents that have the post office logo that we've created and stated. Right? And this way, all capital letters don't bother me. All capital letters in black ink, I'm not worried about that, because they're using our letters, not someone else's. Ours. And then we say, okay, system, when we're going to send something back, and when we send something back through the system, we're going to still speak our own language. Still speak our own language. And the system is going to honor our language. Because all systems have two sides to every coin, to every system. There's two sides. There's the front end and the back end. Truth in, truth will come out. And that's also why it's so important for us, all of us together, to continue speaking the way that we are speaking. And continue agreeing in the manner that we're agreeing, where money is concerned, where dollarium is concerned, where gold and silver is concerned. We've already begun the exchange process. We're already doing postmaster duties. We're already doing international and universal banking. It's already being done. Already. And this is also what we've been stating about systems, period, from day one. We said we just have to keep speaking. Just keep speaking. Just keep agreeing on the public record. Remember, Morris, we've taken vote after vote after vote. And some people was like, I don't know why y'all vote. Now you know why. Because it is the agreement of the sovereigns that causes the system to bow its knee. Every knee shall bow. Every tongue shall confess. That the Lord is the Lord of the system.
Yes.
That's biblical. That's truth. Everyone who doubted will not doubt anymore. Everyone who doubted. See, we're not having a problem with doubt over here anymore. We're not having a problem with doubt anymore.
Islam.
For
those who understand the operations of electricity, on your streets, you have what is called DC. That's direct current. Is what she's saying. I'm just interpreting, translated into electrical currency, direct current. That direct current is sent into the homes on a smaller voltage. So no one will be shocked in the system. So that's how I see as I'm looking at it electronically as well too. Islam.
Yes. No, listen, Justice Howard. The minute you said that, what's the other one? It's called alternating current in electron.
Right.
It must be altered so that it will fit the system. So the system will do.
Mm-hmm. It's artery, veins, and then your capillaries.
Yes.
It breaks down the fluids on smaller areas to penetrate to the smaller areas of the whole body system. Islam.
Yes. Everything must be altered so that it works properly. That's why we keep talking about restating everything. It won't work properly if it's not restated. It must be altered. It must be placed on the holy altar by government, by God. Because, see, in the last era, when they say in God we trust, they were talking about a government ordinance department, a system. They were talking about a system. It's open, Justice Howard. And when they're talking about a system, just one moment. When they're talking about a system, whoever it is that designs and creates that system, the system will honor the master of the system. So every time we restate even one document, it's adding another layer to our system so that our system recognizes what we say. Our system must recognize what we say. See, we were in the last era speaking to a dead system. So we had to actually enact and pretend and act like we were dead. And that's what the Biblios talks about, where, once you were dead in sin and now you're alive forevermore and all of that. Now, here's the part that we want to state and stress, emphasize. This is the part we want to emphasize about the things that we've been stating and doing. It was not our job to go and evangelize what we're stating and doing prior to us doing it. We had to do it first. Then the system itself will do the work. We don't necessarily have to go out and just preach, nationality. The system and the want for the use of the system is going to do that. And then people will be like, well, how is it that y'all have all this money? You have endless money. How? The system has been stated properly by the master, the creators of the system. That's how we have the money. We got the money to do everything we want to do, whatever we want to do. And the system of banks will accept it. The system that is Walmart will accept it. Because guess what? Guess who the CEOs of all of that is? But see, we had to state that on the record first, and then all banknotes would be accepted. Now, think about your merchant cards, Morris. Because see, it's been in the writings the whole time anyway. We see where Morris Salvandolarium, with proper translation, with proper alternating of the currency, which we've done, we can use our money anywhere. Because guess what? Where Empress Shasha is, they're saying the same thing here, but they haven't just, well, I can't even say they haven't broadcasted it yet, because they might have. We just might not have heard it yet. But see, we had to say it first before it happens. Empress Shasha, I will say this: where you are,
Yes.
where you are, there is an effort. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me, Empress? No, you didn't. But we can hear you, Empress Shasha. I don't know if she can hear. Can you hear me, Empress Shasha? Okay. Islam, can you hear me? We can hear you, Empress. Empress Shasha, can you hear me?
She needs new equipment.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what I was going to state about that, she'll have all the equipment she could ever imagine in just a moment. Soon as the translation of the banknotes is done. But what I was going to say is that where Empress Shasha, where you are.
Oh, I'm in, but
can you hear me, Empress Shasha?
Oh, now I can hear. I never heard a peep, so I was just going.
Okay, and we waited for you.
Empress Shasha, where you are, and then I heard nothing. So
yeah, you didn't miss anything, because I knew you were you would come back. So I just what I was going to state is that where you are is responding to.
Is refunding.
And that is what the demonstration prevents you from seeing. That the system
Empress.
Hold on.
I couldn't hear you.
Okay.
When you were saying what you were saying, the important parts, it got all muted out.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I can, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Empress Shasha, where you are, can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
I can.
Where you are, the jail demonstration that you did was to prevent you from seeing what you're seeing now. But it can't do that.
Oh.
But because you stood, the system must bow to you. The system must bow.
Must bow.
It doesn't have a choice.
That is.
It doesn't have a choice. It doesn't have a choice. We created it.
Yes.
And let me tell you that money talks and all the rest of that, the other garbage walks, all the fraud walks. Okay?
It treads, you know.
Now, it was just a matter of time and a little bit of testing.
Yes. Yes.
Will she or he stand
Yes.
in the face of what appeared to be adversity?
Come on. Come on.
Because, see, the system knows. If she stands, I got to bow.
Got to bow. Come on. Come on. Yes.
If she stand, I got to bow.
Bow down.
And that's anybody working in the system.
So true.
Got to bow. If we're going to throw her into a situation that's just urine-filled and pathetic and horrible. Now, if she come out of that still knowing she's the empress at Earth, if she comes out of that crappy place still saying the same thing,
yes,
I gotta bow.
Gotta bow.
Bow.
That's it. That's it.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. That is so true. Not true. Not true.
Now, if we can, now listen, if we can turn her back and have her say she's a citizen and just stand on citizenship, we'll be merciful, but not really.
Exactly.
But if she keeps going to those darn congressional meetings on Thursday and Sunday and speaking powerfully, if she stands, we know this firsthand. I'm telling you, the empresses in particular, and we're not discounting our but I want to speak. I'm being led to speak to the empresses in particular right now.
We listening to us men.
Islam. Empresses, they will throw you into a situation in the past, not now, in the past, that seemed like it was just the antithesis of everything you state that you are. The opposite. Remember, I told you all, you know, I even had one of my kin, and he meant it in love. He meant it in love. He was saying, you know, you don't belong in a jail cell, sis. You don't belong in a jail cell. This was after the first demonstration. I thought to myself, I'm going to forgive him because he doesn't realize that the strength that's coming from the demonstration. The Biblio says if they only knew what they did when they crucified Yeshua, they'd have never done it. They'd have never done it. They'd have never done it. And that goes for matriarchs in particular, because, see, the matriarchs, we have a certain nobility about us that has caused the whole earth to want to dress well and to live well, because they got that from us.
Come on.
So then the testing is throw them into a dirty cell, or have them go and be in a shelter somewhere. Throw them into some and see if they'll still stand and be themselves on the land.
Come on, Queens.
Because when we do that, because we've done it multiple times, then of course you get to print your own money and have the system honor.
Wow.
And you can print 666 trillion and just one of you in the whole system says, okay, I guess we better produce 666 trillion worth of product because someone's coming to buy it. The master. And that goes for all of us. We're all, the word Mr., they applied it to our sons because the word master applies to the matriarchs. And again, it applies to our sons too, but y'all know how they switch things and flip things around.
That's right. They flipped it.
So they called the sons Mr. and they called the empresses Master. Mother, Master. That's why the A had to be removed.
Truth.
Because you still saying mother.
Truth.
When you say master, you still saying mother. When our sons are called master, they're acknowledging where they come from. Islam, Empress.
It's interesting that you say that because in England, growing up, boys, little children, you know, who were not of age, were called master.
Yes. And then when they become of age, they're called Lord. They're called Lord. Yes. Landlord. See, people don't have a problem with the word landlord. They'll run around and call some fraud landlord in a heartbeat. But then when we say we're the Lord,
problem.
Ooh, blasphemy.
Yeah, blood of Jesus.
Right, that. Not knowing they talking about the blood of Yeshua.
That's right.
Why would they call on the blood? Because only the blood can help them. That's why they were taught that.
Their
So
intention was flipped wrong. But yes, exactly.
and that's how come when we restate things, the system puts itself aright, because we do that. With that being stated, I won't go any further with that because I could go all day with that. But for the sake of time and to honor the schedules and the authority of this great Congress, we won't go any further with that for right now. But we live it, we breathe it, it's in our blood to continue the greatness, talking about the greatness and the praise and the honor, the glory. And let me tell you, when the Biblios talks about the earth being filled with the glory in the last days, that's in the last days of that fake system. The glory is the money being properly, the gold and silver, because gold and silver has a frequency.
Yeah.
There's a glow.
Yes.
Glory. Glow.
Yes. Glory. Oh, that's good. That's good. Justice Howard. That's good. It's all in the words. It's all in the language. Are there any other questions, comments, wisdom?
Yes, Mom. Just one more thing.
Yes.
It's in red. That document is in red and white. Yes, Mom.
It is. It is. It is. You know, it's
Would you
interesting.
repeat that? I didn't catch what was just said.
Oh, I said it's in red and white.
The sign that you posted, Empress. Yes.
Yes. The two houses.
Islam.
Islam.
As a matriarch father, grandfather, with grandchildren, which I am proud of and I love dearly,
Islam.
I just want to say thank you to all the mothers who brought them forth out of the gateway, because they're phenomenal young people and their children are phenomenal. Secondly, which is really first, I really want to say this to the males, a statement. If you're feeling something behind the comment of truth that's coming from the supreme matriarchs, which we know mothers first, we all come from mother, the feeling will subside. It's natural because the programming that we were taught in the funny mirror back in the past, in the mind, it will fade. We're to aid and assist and protect the matriarchs in the building, clearing the land, bringing the DeLorean. That's our function. That's just a few of our functions as males and patriarchs, to assist and protect and build for the matriarchs. No true. I just want to say that to all the males. The feeling will subside, just like a pain in your side as you run. It'll subside. You keep running.
Yes.
Islam.
Wow. Very well stated. Very well stated. There is one other, just one moment. That I'm, one last final thing. For those who have the Postmaster General IDs, which we all really should have, all of us should have Postmaster General IDs. We showed our Postmaster General ID a couple of weeks back. Let me see, maybe I can find it here. Just a moment. Let me see if I can scroll through and find it, because I generally try to keep the majority of that on the screen somewhere. There. All more should have a Postmaster General ID card. Here's mine on the screen. Let me just make sure you can see it. Yes. And then the back of it, because also when it comes to general services, that goes through the Postmaster General too, believe it or not. Though for those who've been paying attention to, because they're acting for our benefit, to the enacted trial for the actor Donald Trump, they mentioned general services where Trump Enterprises, quote unquote, bought a post office, either bought or sold a post office for $139 million and made a I think the profit they made was astronomical for that company. But they mentioned General Services briefly in the trial. And so I wanted to just bring that to your attention that that is what is going on where General Services is concerned. General Services does business with the companies that we're the CEOs of all the companies. And so the government and the corporate arena work together. The company arena, the business world, the government and the business world work together. That's what the Department of Commerce is all about.
And they call that the private sector, yes?
They call it the private sector. Yes, they do call that the private sector. Yeah. So private is not really private. Because if it's a light company or utility company,
yeah.
Is it really private or is it doing public? It's a public-private partnership.
Yeah, literally all companies registered with the state of or in the funny mirror, they were all deemed to be for the benefit of the public, no matter what service they were offering.
Yes.
So they were all public, even when they thought they were private in the old funny mirror. Absolutely.
And that's the point and the purpose of everything that we're stating is, number one, they were supposed to be paying employees in gold and silver. They were supposed to be paying employees that way.
And none of us or our heirs or previous progenitors ever got paid that since 1933 and before.
So what does that mean? That means that your Morris Sovereign Dollarium gold receipts can be used as your pay.
Absolutely.
The pay is justified by the documents before they were restated. So, for example, when I worked at Hyundai Motor America, I think I was making about $4,000 a month. It was a little give or take, depending on how much. Well, $4,000 a month was the base pay, and then if we did any other additional things to get bonuses and things, we would get a bonus or whatever. And then so that pay stub can be restated for the amount of years that I worked there. Okay, that pay stub can be restated. And when the pay stub is restated, I can use that, I can deposit that much dollarium into the bank based on the pay stub. Because we have to pay ourselves. Nobody else has the authority to pay us. And so as the system is beginning to say, okay, all banknotes are accepted, and from our perspective, there's no real banknote except for dollarium, because we're the real bank. Banknotes accept, that means that a bank printed them. Islam Empress.
Is there a system of some kind that we could look up to see those types of accounts? Like, because I don't have any access to any of my previous statements from that era. So is there something that is like out there that you are aware of?
Yes, there is something out there that I'm aware of. However, the first authority is going to be your honor.
Yes.
You can go back and look at whatever you made during that time period, or think about, okay, how, because we can, our memory is, everything will be brought to our memory. You can think about how much you were paid back then, and just say, okay, I'm going to create these many credits based on that, and pay myself, and then deposit it. So when you're taking your deposits to the bank, and you're depositing dollarium, you must have a justification for that. Okay. The justification being, how is it that this dolarium becomes credit? Where did it come? Where is the exchange? What happened? How were these created? They were created with our energy. Okay. So when I go back and look at my pay stubs from Hyundai, even if I didn't have them, I know how much I made, plus bonuses.
Well, you haven't gotten that conveyance. You haven't gotten a conveyance. What the fuck is wrong? You ain't.
So since I know how much I got paid, I can deposit that much based on that, because we must be paid properly. So you can go all the way back to birth even, and just add up, where did money come in for you at? Where did credits come in? Because no money came in, credits came in. Wherever those credits came in at, you can pull from that.
Islam.
Restate the credits and then deposit it. Those who've been doing liens, you can create credits based on liens. Now, it's always going to be expedient as competent heirs to have a purpose for the credit. And the purpose should always be to grow the credit. Yes, we can buy, we can do exchanges where domiciles and conveyances are concerned. That's just to grow whatever it is, to grow the credit.
Show the back of your picture.
Yes. Just one moment, Empress. The back of this.
Yes.
Okay, let me see if I can find it here. The back of, here it is. Here's the back. Now, this fingerprint is actually going to be a QR code. So the QR code that I changed, that I've placed on the altar, is going to be there. Because it's going to, whenever it scans at the post office, it's going to tell them where to send that badge. If the badge, let's say I put the badge down, and they say, oh, whose badge is this? We know it's hers. How do we get it to her? They scan the QR code, and it's going to show them this part right here. It's going to show them this. So this is the QR code that's going to be on the badge. It's going to be in blue. You see that? So you can go back and look at any of your mailings that you've ever received, and if it has any QR code on it anywhere, you can restate that QR code and put it on the back of your Postmaster General badge, and it's going to tell them where to find you. And it's being stated in ancient English.
Islam, would that be in blue?
It would be in blue. And that's why we're restating this one that's on the screen.
Can you ask that?
We heard you. I heard you. I heard you. You said, and maybe you're not hearing what my response is.
Oh, there she is. Okay.
Can you hear me, Empress?
Oh, now I can hear you. Yes.
Okay. I'm responding when I heard your question. I responded to the question. But go ahead, Empress.
Oh, it went into the ether. So
she exited out because she know it didn't fucking go through. Just saying, she's full of shit.
Hater. Islam, Empress. Don't listen to haters, everyone. Okay, go ahead, Empress.
Yeah, I was asking, should it be blue on the QR code?
Yes, I'm gonna make this all the way blue. And I'm going to restate this, Pauline, Denise, Richie, and all of that. I'm going to restate it and make it blue also. And it won't be capitalized. We're okay with it, with what the system did in order for the system to do.
The ID, approximate dimensions or exact dimensions if you have it.
It's the same as ID cards. The same as ID cards.
Okay. Same size. Okay.
It's just vertical instead of horizontal.
Okay. Portrait landscape.
Can you go back to the screen where you were showing the back of it again, please, and show the whole thing? It wasn't centered. I couldn't do a screenshot.
Okay, just a moment.
Question.
Islam.
So, back in the other side, the old era, they would put checks in with credit cards, debit cards, and can we restate those and deposit those?
Yes.
The post office still didn't let you in the back. They still told you to fuck off.
Look at the dumb. Look at the dumb. Quiet dummy. Go ahead.
Oh,
you know what? And we're saying dumb because the things that are being stated are dumb. They're just dumb.
Yeah.
They're just dumb. So we're just telling the truth.
Dumb subjects.
Really.
You know, it's so not effective though. It's not effective
This
what
is
they're saying.
Thing.
What he's saying, because he can't state anything, but what he's saying is just dumb.
What he said. It's just point. I mean, all he's doing is affirming and confirming, in which he doesn't have the power to do at all. But it's like, get a life. Oh, you can't. Oh.
You can't get a life, and guess what? We're not going to give you one either.
Exactly.
We're not.
You are not risen.
No. There has to be some decay, and the reason we say that is because fruit have to ripen. That's the other way for saying decay. The fruit have to ripen, so we'll just leave them with that part.
Yeah, they're trying to do Tai Chi. They can't do Tai Chi.
No.
They can't.
No.
Wow.
Empress Shasha, we'll just the restating of things was the key, even according to the Circle 7, Chapter 2 of the Circle 7.
Yeah.
So we're just everything we see, we're restating. You know how one of my shows that I used to watch when I was little was Bewitched with I forget
Samantha.
Elizabeth Montgomery.
Samantha.
Yeah, that used to be one of my favorite shows growing up.
Yeah.
And when I think about how we can just wave a magic wand, the pen,
voila,
and bam, we got it.
Voila.
And the tongue also.
Abracadabra.
The tongue also.
Yes.
The tongue is the pen of a ready writer.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Teach Empress.
Open sesame.
There it is.
All right.
And then Samantha used to twitch her nose.
That was the thing, her nose, exactly.
Yeah. Noble Phoenix, yes. I Dream of Jeannie was another one that I liked. Yes, indeed. They used to call the Moors the Jinns, G-I-N.
That's right.
The Jinns.
The Genies. The Genies.
Mm-hmm.
So I have nothing further for this Congress at this particular time for this particular Congressional Assembly. Is there anything further from the Congress? Listen, we won. We won. It's a wrap. Islam Empress.
Celebrate.
Yes.
Grand Rising Empress, Grand Rising Moors.
Yes.
Pertaining to the question about if you don't have any pay stubs from, from the past.
Mm-hmm.
If you can always get your W-2, right?
Yeah.
Your W-2 form or the Social Security, because Social Security tracked everything you made from.
They did.
Made it.
They did. So what
those
you can do
be
is
restated also.
Yes, they must be.
Right.
Yeah, they must be. They must be. Or you can listen, Morris. You can just, on your honor, state what it is, and just let the energy that you stated with be honorable, honest energy. You're going to reap anyway. You're going to reap what you sowed anyway. But this is where the honor of the Moors is, though it's these types of demonstrations where the bank will just accept it on your honor. On your honor. And when we state it honorably and properly, the ancestors will honor it. So if you don't have pay stubs and you say, okay, I know I worked at Residence Inn by Marriott for about a year and a half, and during that time period, I remember making, $15 an hour, $15.63 or something of that nature. So I'm just going to take that number of months and multiply it up and state how much I was making during that time period, how much energy they got, because that's really what a paycheck is it's adding up of the energy, and I'll deposit that, and you can do that for each and every job you've ever had, and if you were self-employed, you already know, and it will be on your honor. It will be on your honor, and the spirit will know. And the spirit will tell you, the spirit will give correct numbers and things. I remember not too long ago, about probably 2 years ago, something told me to put my whole resume together. Something said, put your whole resume. And it wasn't something, it was the ancestors that told me to do it. And as they were telling me to do it, they would tell me to go and look in different boxes and things that I have here. And I didn't miss a single class that I took. Everything is on my resume from day one, from the very first job I ever had. I was able to either look at what was there or remember and know in honor that that's what it was. And so a couple of years back, we suggested that the heirs put their resumes together. That's why. Because when you put your resume together, it's going to help you remember how much you made and things of that nature. And if you can't remember how much you made, all you have to do is look at your resume, go out online, and look at how much that job is paying even today. And then calculate it that way, because the money is going to add up. You have to make room for pay raises and things of that nature. But if you were a waitress back in 1995 and you waitress for 2 months, go out online and see how much waitresses for wherever it was or anything comparable, and then take that and add it up and put it on your resume as this is. And then when you add up all the energy that you released and set forth in the earth in order to make the earth a better place, because that's what jobs were, is in preparation for what we're doing now, then you can pay yourself honorably and not even blink about whether those numbers are right or not. The spirit will tell you, yes, this is right. The spirit will tell you. So if there be nothing further from this Honorable Congress, are there any other questions, comments, or wisdom?
Islam.
Will
we start working on doing trusts where we can, put our special purpose vehicle can gift labor to the living, and so that's normally how it's done. And just claim so the living can do the taxes and be beneficiary, and there's a higher deduction for gift.
So when you say gifting the living for their labor, are you meaning a paycheck for those who are working?
So yeah, the one that so when the straw was working, taxes were paid because we weren't taught anything else. But the straw can give their labor to the living, and then the living can claim gift tax.
So yes, but it's not a straw. You have to know that your person is a living natural person, a living natural person. The name Pauline Denise Ritchie is a living natural person. So that living natural person can give money. But see, it will be Pauline, the CEO of whatever bank, and it'll be the United States, and Pauline as the fiduciary for the United States who gives Pauline, the worker or the employee, whatever we give the employee for her labor. So for example, when I did work at Hyundai, what I will do is issue a credit letter from Hyundai stating that, yes, she worked at this time period from this time to this time. This is how much she was paid. The total amount altogether, what she was paid was, whatever, $160,000 for that whatever time period or whatever. And that letter for credit goes to the bank. And then Delarium is put into the bank in that amount so that the credits balance and match whatever letter of credit. And again, we must issue the letters of credit to ourselves from the companies that we're the CEOs of that we worked for. Because what we didn't know is while we were working there, we were still the heads and not the tail. So for each one, yes, it's going to take some work. For each company, so I'll go and get Hyundai logo and nationalize the logo by putting something red in there, and then issue a credit letter saying, yes, this amount should be credited, is hereby credited to her account, and take that to the bank. And I really don't have to take it to the bank. I can mail it. And the bank will issue, and the system will issue the credit.
Right.
I can actually do that from home. I can scan that document in and scan it into the. Remember how we showed how you can scan and attach different credits to your bank account?
Yeah, I remember that.
By using the email, because all bank accounts have an email address attached to them, and all you do is craft an email and upload the documents into your bank account, the credits into your bank account. And then the bank account will, the intelligence of the bank account will scan the letter and see that it has a credit there, and then it will deposit the credit into the account according to our word. And yes, it's going to be millions and millions and millions. Yes, Islam Empress.
Islam. In reference to the letter of credit, I know we talked about that a couple months back. Do you have one that you'll be able to bring up so I can take a screenshot of it either this time or I'll bring it up at the next Congressional Assembly? I just would like to get a screenshot of it.
Yes.
Thank you.
Employee. So we were self-employed even when I was working at Hyundai. I was still self-employed simply because I was paying myself. They never really paid me gold and silver. They gave credits, but they didn't. It was in a dead system. And I will say this: the job we are so grateful for the things that the ancestors had us doing when we were asleep. We're so grateful for those things because all of it is relevant. Everything is relevant. Everything is relevant. Are there any other questions, comments, wisdom? Islam Empress.
I was just meditating on that whole system that you were speaking of about paying ourselves. Because we have taken and restated our sovereign security number, and in the enactment, everything was done by our yes, it is our sovereign security number, regardless if it was then or now. And then the Internal Revenue was also accounting and keeping records with that number. When we do our restated true living payment of our gold credits and send it to our treasury, also known as the Internal Revenue Treasury, the system will remember and then attribute the proper credits, and because all of the institution banking systems that we have restated is also in the same alignment, it will automatically affirm that which we have stated and do it as is commanded, as you have competently stated and restated, and lovingly stated and restated. The system will do as we command.
Yes. It's already doing as we command, Empress. I mean, you've seen that where, even the bus terminals and things are doing as we've commanded, and the banks and the, post offices, and because that's our system.
Yes, ma'am.
It has no choice but to bow to the masters.
That part. Yeah.
And then the masters have to be patient enough to speak, and then see if the system responds the way it should. Because see, remember, y'all, really quickly, when we first started speaking, the system would respond back as if we were citizens and subjects. Remember that? And over time, we just stayed with it. No, system, that's not the right system. That system is lean. This is the system that's supposed to be speaking and saying things and doing things.
Mm-hmm.
But look what we went through to get to this point.
Yeah.
Even with merchant cards and credit cards, our merchant cards, just look at this really quickly, more. Here it is, right here. And this says Reserve Bank of Australia, but it's a lot of the other ones too. European Union, and even here, MasterCard, Visa, and all of them. They have a honor all cards policy, just like honor all banknotes. The first is that the rule requires merchants to accept Visa cards regardless of which bank or financial institution issues the card. Our merchant cards are Visa cards because we said that they're also MasterCard. They're also American Express. It says this might be best thought of as an honor all issuers rule. See, they know that it matters who issues things. And so for our cards, it is a justifiable rule within a payment card scheme since it prevents payees from whatever this is. This is European Union. This is the EU that we pointed to previously, which is not the real EU. We're the real EU because we created it. But all cards have honor all cards rule, and all banks have honor all cards rule because the cards are issued by banks. So everything that we have stated about our own money system is activated. Our job is to continue to teach the system what to say and what to do when it sees our documentation coming through. That's our job, is to continue to train the system to do. So, and that's done in writing and in what we say and what we believe and know and feel. Know it, and feel. Are there any other questions, comments, wisdom? And of course, we're going to be happy to continue putting the processes forth. Islam nobility.
Yes, Islam. Here's an elementary. It's a question unknown, but it's a statement all in one. The Postmaster General, this is me asking the question, can travel to any of its locations on the earth.
Yes.
Okay. Sure. With the use of the ID, because we know that the subjects, when they see the ID, they quickly snap to attention, if you would, in honor, that's that word you just said, and respect who she and or he is to them. Okay. That was just the office.
Because we put the office in place, that's why they respect the office.
Yes. That was something we were discussing in our little circle.
Yeah.
Intelligently. Mm-hmm. So you confirmed for him. You affirmed.
Yes.
And, yes. Mm-hmm.
Listen, it's only a matter of time before all that we have stated and all that we've seen and all that we've built, we're actually here now. When we honor the system will honor right back everything that we state. Travel is a huge one for us. Travel is huge for us. Travel and communication. So we're willing to do the work. With that being stated, we will meet again on Sunday at 6 p.m. Hopefully everyone has been watching the moon's activity over the last few days and weeks. The moon is crescent with the day star. It almost looks exactly like our crescent moon at the top of our document. The moon looks exactly like that, but the star is getting closer and closer. So with that being stated, and it's between the day star and Venus as to which star is in that space, but both belong to us. So with that being stated, peace and grand rising to the sovereign, original, indigenous, natural, divine heirs, Islam. We got it.
Islam.
We got it.
Islam, peace and grand rising.
Islam, peace and love. Grand rising. Much appreciation for my erudition.
Islam.
God, grand rising.
Islam.
Vean, Sash.
Islam.
Momento.